Extension methods are one of the features of C# that gives you the most bang for your learning buck. Spend 5 minutes learning how to use them, and they'll help you every day, keeping your code much more readable and understandable. In this lesson, I show you how to create extension methods. So we've all seen something like this. In a program or website, we have 2 messages, and then somewhere in the program it says, you have this many messages. It displays the messages. And if I run it, it says you have 2 messages, which is great. But what if it's 1 message? Then it says you have 1 messages, which is grammatically incorrect. And it's actually strange that you see it so often because it's very easy to correct. Here's one way to correct it. You make a library of functions. Let's call them string helpers because they help improve your strings. And you call it something like smart plural. And you send it a certain number of items and then send it the singular word and the plural word. And then inside here, you simply ask if how many equals 1, then return 1 of the singular, else return how many in string, plus the space, plus plural, and that's all you have to do. And the problem is solved. So now, instead of messages, what you have to say is string helpers, smart plural, messages, and then singular is message, and plural is messages. And close this up, and we don't need this anymore. And so if we run it, we see that 1 message works, and if we have something like 5, then that works too. You have 5 messages. Now, extension methods just allow you to make this a bit more streamlined. So all you have to do is here type this. And because this class is static, this is automatically an extension method. Now, what can we do with an extension method? Well, instead of I'm doing Control-C, Control-V, commenting this out so we can see how it was and how it is here. Instead of writing all of this, all we say is messages dot, and then you see here, it's as if integer now has a method called smart plural. So we select that and we open it, and now it's asking for the next 2 parameters, singular and plural. So we type them in, message, messages, and that's all we have to do. And when we run it, it's the same thing. If we have 1 message, it works. So with the extension method, your code is cleaned up a bit. Now let me show you another case where extension methods clean up your code. Let's say you're typing this. You can type order, and I have to type these slash quotes inside the quotes, or purchase, but do not use the word contract, something like that. So now this does indeed print the sentence out with the quotation marks, which is nice. But you can see that lines and lines of this will soon get very messy. So I'm going to make an extension method to hang on to string, which will convert single quotes into double quotes. So if I do Control-C, Control-V, I can change all of these to single quotes. And then I need to make an extension method, a very simple one, in which I replace the single quotes with the double quotes. So that would be public static. Remember, extension methods have to be static inside a static class, in a library of functions, you could say. And it's going to be called quotes, and it's going to accept, I'll just call it a line or a string, and it returns the replacement of single quote with double quote. And that's it. Now on my string here, I say dot, and even though this is a string, it's not even a variable, I still have my extension method. And I just close it here, and we'll see if it works. It does. Another extension method that I often use is to do indents. So in instance, if you're doing something like this, /t files, something like that, and then here you have /t reports, and then here you have /t letters, something like that. So when you run it, you see this is indented. These are indented too. The extension method would make this easier. What you do is make it static, call it indent. The main object that is going to have the extension method is a string, and we'll call it line inside the method. And then you're going to take the number of tabs, and this here is a C# 4.0 feature, which allows you to define the default value of a parameter, which is very nice. Something that's in PHP for years and is finally in C#. Okay, now, because we're going to be adding a string together, I'm going to use a string builder. And the number of indents is tabs here, and just append that number of tabs to the string builder. And then at the end, append the line that came in. And return the string builder as a string. Now, instead of all these, you can send indent 1, indent 2, indent 2, for instance. And it does the same thing. So extension methods clean up your code, but they can also give you new functionality like this here. Here we have a title, a description, and then the writeLine method has a very nice feature that allows you to put variables in the string and then define the variables here in an argument list. But if you're going to define a string in the same way, for instance, println equals, you will have to use string format to get the same functionality, like this. So if we print this line, then we see that we get the same output on both lines. Now there's a popular extension method called format with, which allows you to do the same formatting simply on a string. So now I just have to say this. Well, a good example would be this here. String print line 2 equals, and then just the string, title, description, and then dot format with, title, description. Right on the string itself. And if I print that, print line 2, I see that I get the exact same value or output. Very nice. But the real power of extension methods comes when you realize that they can be chained together. So this is a string, and you format it with these variables, but then this is also a string. So I can convert the result of that to upper, because it being a string has access to all of the methods of a string. So if I print this, I see that it's all uppercase. And you can keep on chaining. So let's say I want to have the title in quotes. I can put single quotes here, and then at the end just say quotes, and run it, and they're in quotes. And if I want to indent it, I just say indent, indent 2, and it's indented, and it has quotes, and it's uppercase, and it's formatted with variables. As you have seen in this lesson, extension methods are helpful in cleaning up your code and making it easy to understand. And when used together in chains, they are an unprecedented tool for producing extremely concise code. Definitely use them.